Hello, my name is Kevin Day. This video presentation is my Capstone project update, Fall 2022, Detection and Analysis of Android Banking Trojans. This video content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. Mobile banking apps are now the primary method used for accessing banking services, and it has become evident that there is an increased need for the development of robust and accurate detection methods of malware targeted at Android banking apps. Mobile banking Trojans are a growing security threat that pose significant risks to both consumers and the banking industry due to the unique nature of mobile malware. Detection of mobile banking Trojans remain challenging due to the constant evolution of methods used to evade existing detection and security solutions. The number of incidents of banking Trojans will only continue to increase in the future. My capstone research questions are: for static detection of banking Trojans, what effective open source static detection methods for banking Trojans that are currently available? Factors would include antivirus solutions, detection rates, when first detected, target and minimum Android standard development kit, permissions, activities, intent receivers, services, and broadcast receivers defined within the manifest, and Delvik bytecode analysis. For dynamic detection of banking Trojans, what effective open source dynamic detection methods for banking Trojans that are currently available? Factors would include system calls and generated network traffic. How does the Trojan steal banking data from the device user? And is there an overlay attack initiated? For banking app security, how secure are Android banking apps available on Google Play? What is the potential for monetary loss to customers and banking institutions due to Android banking Trojans infections based on user factors and Android version? Measuring factors would include security score, vulnerabilities present, are there any security risks, trackers, or logged information? The last question would deal with banking app ethics. What are the ethical responsibilities of Google to protect users from stores offering that contain concealed malware? What ethical standards banks should be held responsible to for reporting vulnerabilities detected in their mobile apps to customers and stakeholders in a timely manner? Capstone project objectives. The first objective would be to collect and analyze banking Trojans using open source publicly available banking Trojan samples, compare static versus dynamic analysis methods. How effective are open source detection and analysis tools? How are banking Trojans stealing user banking data? Is there an overlay attack achieved? Second objective would be download and analyze major banking apps for users in the USA. How secure are they? Any risks present? Ethical considerations and evaluations. What roles and responsibilities does Google have to consumers of apps on the Play Store? Are banks properly reporting and fixing vulnerabilities in their banking apps? What responsibilities do end users have for downloading malicious apps? Quantitative analysis research areas. How secure are Android banking apps? What is the impact of Android banking Trojans on devices? How are they being distributed and installed on devices? How successful are device infections and persistence? Static detection features and dynamic detection features. How are banking Trojans achieving an overlay attack against apps? And ethical analysis of actions of banks, mobile banking users, and Google policies on infections on mobile devices. Some background on the Android operating system. It's a mobile operating system based on a modified version of the Linux kernel and offers as a free and open source software. The source code is the Android open source project and licensed under the Apache license. Application Programming Interface Framework is written natively in Java, which shares libraries within C and C++, integrates the Linux kernel at the bottom of the software stack, does not use the standard Linux kernel because the fundamental Linux libraries are removed, adding Android-specific special libraries. Then it's developed on top of the Linux kernel, leveraging driver model, effective memory management, process management, and network support. The Android market share worldwide. Worldwide, Android has a 70.42% over iOS, 28.9%. And you see Android has a steady increase. For the breakdown of the Android market shares worldwide, last year Android did release OS 13, but as you can see here, there is still a prevalent of Android 11 and Android 12 being a very prominent operating system. Android app APKs is an archive file that contains multiple files and metadata used by Android to distribute and install apps. Archive files based on the jar format used by Android for distribution and installation of apps, games, and middleware. These can be written in Java or Kotlin. Program code, resources, assets, certifications, and manifest files are contained within the APK. The Android runtime, or ART, replaced the Dalvik virtual machine, or DVM, with Android Runtime, which offers improved application performance and optimized battery performance. This is achieved by translating the app bytecode into native instructions that execute by the device's runtime environments. The Android manifest components are bound together to define each component and performs a different function and defining various application-related values. This can include the minimum APK level, define permissions to map permissions to API calls, intent filters displaying the details of app intentions. Some of the main parts of the Android manifest are the activities, which is a part of the user interface, intent receivers, which are sections of code which wait until triggered by an event, services, which run as a process in the background, broadcast receiver, which listens for an incoming background message by the system or other apps, and a content provider, which data storage that allows an app to share data with other apps. Background on Android banking Trojans. A banking Trojan can impersonate mobile apps and steal money from mobile users' bank accounts using methods such as redirection, keylogging, web injects, and SMM interception. Methods include hiding the text. Malware on phones hides incoming SMS from the bank and then sends them to the criminals, who then transfer money to their accounts. Mirror cash movements. Malware actors occasionally transfer relevant modest sums of money to fraudulent accounts from an defective user's account. And an app overlay, where it replicates the app's UI and generates a fundamental screen on top of the target app. The scope of the attack can be either depending on a hard-coded list of targeted apps, or can be dynamically adjusted to impersonate any app of the attacker's choice. Generally, the permission is the system alert window, and it also takes advantage of the Android accessibility service. In 2021, Kaspersky detected 97,601 installation packages, which decreased by almost over 59,000 from the previous year. Some prevention methods for banking Trojans are enable S&M notifications for mobile banking, download apps only from the official Google Play Store for Android, review any rights and permissions requested by each app, install a reputable antivirus solution, enable 3D secure for all online payments, enable two-step authentication for all online banking apps, choose terminals with chips and PIN support, don't swipe and signature terminals, keep current on all updates and patching for existing software for Android devices. These are the main literature review articles in no particular order. Notably, the rise of Android banking Trojans, the Android malware stack analysis techniques, limitations, open challenges, the rise of obfuscation, Android malware and implications on detection methods, Android security, a survey of issues, malware penetration and defense, Android banking malware, sophisticated Trojans versus fake banking apps, mobile banking evolutions and threats, malware threats and security solutions. The methodology for this capstone for the ethical analysis are: what are the ethical issues involved with Android banking Trojans, and any specific moral issues that needed to be addressed? Who are the stakeholders and their moral claims? What is the source or scope of legal authority in question? Are there any relevant preceding cases or historical content relevant? Each decision will have a different consequence, thus most ethical actions and scenarios will be described. However, the decision will be based on very specific circumstances with respect to individual interests and social values. And finally, justification for a particular action will be the ethically best way to deal with the issue presented in this case based on which option has the strongest ethical reasons behind it. Factors would include effectiveness, portability, necessity, and least infringement. The methodology for the Android banking security, which would use the U.S. population statistics, will be generated from the U.S. Census Bureau to estimate the end-user population. Destruction. Sample APK acquisition. Samples of Android banking Trojan samples will be downloaded from online sources such as Hybrid Analysis, VirusTotal, and GitHub. The sample banking APKs will be downloaded from Google Play Store. Once the APK has been downloaded, the APK will be uploaded to the following website for analysis: Hybrid Analysis and VirusTotal. Decompilation. With apps, it is recommended to get the decompiled source code, which is much easier to read and perform dynamic analysis on. If the decompilation is not successful, some anti-reverse engineering techniques will be needed, and this code can be disassembled so that the tampering logic can be amended. A Python script I will be developing to run a series of system commands with Kali Linux to unpack the APK file for analysis. This will include decompilation and generate the jar files for analysis. Next, we'll be reviewing the app manifest. The Android manifest file is analyzed to give insight into valuable insight in the APK's functionality, such as permissions, broadcast receivers, intents, and services. Code analysis. The APK will be opened in an IDE tool to provide a convenient UI to start reviewing the logic. Deobfuscation. If it is confirmed that the sample is obfuscated, trying to figure out whether it is a known Java solution and if any deobfuscators exist. Behavioral analysis will be used. The sample will be executed in an emulated environment with a behavioral analysis tool to get an idea of the potential dynamic functionality, identifying if there is some emulator detection technique that is implemented. The tools used for this project are the following: Mobile Security Framework, Android Debug Bridge APK tool, Android Studios, Burp Sweep, Dozer, JD GUI, VirtualBox, to name a few. The fall 2022 project milestone dates: October 24th would be the rough draft submission for the third advisor for review. November 5th would be the final draft submission for the third advisor to review. November 20th would be submitting the capstone for final draft review. December 2nd would be submit the capstone for final PowerPoint review. December 5th through the 9th, I would defend my capstone project to the Cyber Operations Committee. Thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed my capstone update video.